Well, what does that have to do with America, with the United States? Well, here's what it has to do is that there were seeds planted coming out of this great war for empire that will lead directly to the American Revolution. Okay. And so let's just talk about what were the outcomes of the war. In and this is it. So if you want to, you can take a picture of this slide, or you can go back and look at it, or you can uh, 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 somehow other somehow or other get it into your notes, because this is very important. This is the whole reason why we talked about the Great War for Empire, is because there's these four major consequences of the war that will lead directly to American to the American Revolution. Okay, so the first one is when during the war, actually, the British will start to send British troops to America, and they will pass a law. The name of the law is the Quartering Act, and what the act means is that uh, the British Army can go to the homes of private citizens, although they're not really citizens, they're subjects, right? But they can go to the private homes, and they can demand that the people who own the home give lodging and basically food and lodging to the British soldiers. So it would be kind of like if you were sitting at home on Saturday night watching TV, and you hear a knock on the door, and you open up the door, and there's a like 10 Marines standing out there, and they're saying, okay, you have to put us up and feed us, right? And you would have to let them in. That was the law, right? Does that make sense? So you're already getting your privacy encroached upon. But not only that, there was a divide between Britain, actually between Europe and America, where the Europeans thought of everything American as inferior, right? So that was between the British and the American colonies, and the Spanish and their American colonies, all of the and the French and their American colonies. In fact, one of the French authors, whose name was Buffon, made the comparison between America and Britain, or Europe, by saying in Europe they have mighty war horses, and what do they have in America? Deer, just little weak, passive, peaceful things, right? Okay, so there's this uh, arrogance, I guess you could say, on the part of the Europeans, and that's going to be something that's felt throughout the country. So that means then that and it's not just the merchants and the lords and the upper class that has this arrogance. It's everybody, right? And that arrogance then will show with these British soldiers who show up and move into your house. And once they move into your house, they're going to be um, they're going to be disrespectful of your being, essentially, right? They're going to think of Americans as a bunch of ignorant hicks, right? And they're going to treat them that way. They say, you guys are hicks, right? And so what will happen is that throughout the colonies, there will be a sense where Americans will respond to this ill treatment, this arrogance, with a kind of a counter arrogance. And it's going to be called, what we're going to call it is Creole patriotism. All right. Creole, patriotism. Okay. So now you're thinking Creole. Now, doesn't it have to do with New Orleans? Right. And it does. Right. But here's what Creole actually means. Creole is somebody that's born in America of parents that are from somewhere else. So in France, in New Orleans, let's say, people that were born in New Orleans, they were Americans, but they were children of French people. And that's how they become Creoles, right? And same thing in the Spanish Empire. If you were born in America but your parents were from Spain, then you would be a criollo. Same thing, right? Okay, so in America, we have most of the Americans now are born in the Americas, but they're all descended from people who came from England, and so they're all Creoles, all right? And the significance of Creole patriotism is that because of this arrogance on the part of the British, where the British are saying, you guys are less than us, and you guys are a bunch of hicks, right? Americans will start to say, well, wait a minute, we are different, but we're better because we have a bigger country, we have a cleaner atmosphere, we have cleaner air, we have a higher infant survival rate, we have cleaner cities, uh, we have prosperity, right? And all of these things are much better than what you guys have in Britain. So there's the response then to this berating that they got from the British is going to be, no, yeah, we're different, but we're better. And so that's when we start to see people in the colonies all start to consider themselves American. Okay. Well, now this is important if you think about it, because remember, I told you at the beginning that people in America knew they were in America, but they didn't think of themselves as American. So, why would it be significant now that all of the people in America start to think of themselves as American?
When they're united, they're stronger together.
Okay, so remember what we're leading up to here. We're leading up to the American Revolution. What did we say it was? The American Revolution. How can we have an American Revolution if there aren't any Americans?
Trying to see them like stray away from like the British. So
Exactly.
like
They start to recognize their difference, right? Thank you for saying that, Kayla. So if I now think of myself as different from you, I can imagine myself being independent from you, can't I? But if I'm the same as you, then the idea of independence is ridiculous. You follow what I'm saying? So this arrogance leads to this nascent nationalism called Creole patriotism that will give Americans a minimum sense of unity. It's not like they all start to think of themselves as the same. They still see themselves as different, right? Uh, in terms of the colonies that they live in, but they'll start to see that they have one thing in common that separates them from the British, and that is that they're Americans. You follow me here? And that's going to be an important um, development in the creation of a sense that America can be independent.